Mindset training. Those of you who were here earlier, I was playing a video that's called "The Wisdom of Jim Rohn Part 2." So if you want to watch that full video, just go to YouTube and type in "The Wisdom of Jim Rohn Part 2." 1 and 2 actually, but that was part 2, and Brandon Ivey, and that video will pop up. Well, thank you guys for being here. I'm very, very excited to do this presentation tonight, this training. I haven't done this mindset training since February, and the one before February was in December, and the one before December was September of last year. So it's very rare that I do this training, but it's also the most exciting thing for me, the thing I get excited about the most, because I am all about being a professional mindset, how to build your business, focusing on the goal and not the task. That is the fuel for your engine, and it took me 10 years to figure it out. 10 years to figure it out. Now, it's not like it was 10 years later that I was first taught of this. I was taught this information from day one. When I first joined network marketing, and the giants in my company, and that company at the time was ACN, and they all talked about personal development, self-improvement, reading, listening to guys like Jim Rohn and Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar. The list goes on and on. And I heard that, but what I was most focused about at that time was learning the skills. Show me, what do I need to do on a daily basis to be a success? And that's a very valid, and that is information you should know. You should seek out to know. But every time I always found it weird that every time I would ask the millionaires and my mentors that question, they always responded the same way. And it was not what you think. It wasn't, this is what you should do on this day. This is how you should build your business. No, it was always go back to, what are you reading? What are you focusing on? What's your why? What do you want out of life? And I'm like, yeah. I already have that stuff, but what do I need to do to get that? And they always say, you don't understand. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to be focusing on a daily basis. And it took me 10 years to figure it out. So in this training, I'm going to tell you guys the secret to being successful. Do you know what that secret is? If you know the secret to being successful, go ahead and type it in the chat box. Go ahead and type, what do you think the secret to being successful is? Type it in the chat box. Most of you will probably get it wrong. Most of you will probably get it wrong. Be as generic as you can. The secret to success. See, I have studied all successful people in every field, whether it's doctors, lawyers, whether it's people in network marketing, whether it's entrepreneurs in the technology sector, whether it's individuals who are sports athletes, basketball players, football players, authors, people who write books, people who do movies, actors. In every single field, and I've come to one conclusion that is universal, and we're going to go over what that one secret is during this presentation. And today's presentation is about how to become a professional. But before we talk about how to become a professional, we got to get your mind right. Mindset is everything. Now I'm seeing what you guys are putting here in the chat box. I see mindset, personal growth, mind development, act as if you are, attitude, mindset. Oh, those are all important, but that's not it. That's not it. But mindset is very important. Attitude. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference? No. Attitude is a little thing that makes all the difference in the world. Attitude is everything. So you have to understand that two people can experience the same exact event in life and both be transformed by it in a positive or negative way. And what is the determining factor of that? Your attitude. See, you have to understand it is not what happens to you in life that is important. It's how you respond to what happens to you in life that makes all the difference in the world. I asked a question still. Only a few of you have answered. I'm going to ask you the question again. What do you think is the secret to being successful? Type that in the chat box because we're going to go over what that secret is. You probably have it wrong. But attitude is everything. I'll give you guys a couple of examples for local events that have taken place that we have all witnessed. Lately, the news has been all about what's going on in our communities with police violence. Let's take the Eric Garner case in New York City. Now, here's one thing that I always deviate from and avoid at all costs when it comes to business, and that's politics and religion. So do not worry. We're not going to go over what is right or wrong. I just want to use an example that a video camera caught an incident between police and Eric Garner that led to Eric Garner's death. One group of people saw one thing, or not saw one thing, they saw the same thing, but one group of people came to one conclusion, and another group of people came to a completely different conclusion. How can that be when you're watching the same exact event? See, this is why it's so important to understand that in life is going to happen to you no matter what you do. You can be the best person in the world, you can be the worst person in the world, but life is going to happen to you. We all have 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. We all share the same time. We all breathe the same air. We all have to wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night. Nobody gets extra seconds in the day. So what is going to separate you from everybody else who experienced the same exact events? It's your attitude. It's how you respond to what's happening to you. It's what you do about it afterwards. Do you become a victim or do you become a success? Do you learn from it or does it paralyze you? Do you move forward or do you stay back in our comfort zones? So the first thing you must do on your road to having a better life, understand the words I chose. I didn't say to have more money. To have a better life is your mindset. Money is nothing but energy. Your goal is not to make more money. Your goal is to have a better lifestyle. It just so happens that money can help make that happen. But it is not the only thing that makes that happen. Because if that were so, then every single rich person in the world would always be happy. And is that the case today? No. No, it is not. And people always wonder why. Especially people who don't have money wonder why. I always say, life can happen to all of us, but I'd rather bad things happen when I have a lot of money in the bank than others. I'll sit on the beach somewhere and think about what's going on in my life. But money is nothing but a resource. And all money does is highlight the things and the character that you already are. It magnifies who you are. That's what money does. It just magnifies your character. So the focus and the goal is not on money, but personal development and self-improvement. If you want more out of life, you have to become more out of life. Where you are today is the sum result of every decision you've made in your life until this point, including your bank accounts. So if you think you're going to be somewhere 5 years from now different than where you are now, what are you willing to do different? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, yet expecting a different result. Are you willing to step outside of your comfort zone? Are you willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have? Are you willing to do the things you haven't been willing to do? Are you willing to be uncomfortable? And it all starts by making a decision. And when you make a decision, the first thing you do is change how you think. Change your mindset. It is impossible to grow without doing something different. If you ever have a goal of losing weight, but you don't change your eating habits, you're not going to lose weight. You want to gain muscles, but you don't go to the gym, you're not going to gain muscles. It is just a want. It is just a desire. And we all have wants and desires, but what we lack is the fuel to make that desire a reality. And the first place it starts is within your mind. Visualize what you have and have the right attitude. So it may be a little thing, but it's a little thing that makes all the difference, and it is the one thing that nobody can take from you. It is the one thing you have full control over. You have 100% control over your attitude. I remember when my son, we put him in Taekwondo, and it was really to learn discipline, not to teach him how self-defense and to fight, but more about discipline for restraint. And he was very good at it. He almost got black belt. It was brown belt, second degree brown belt or something like that. And the one thing that happened at his school, found this was very interesting with him when he was learning this discipline, was there was a bully. The bully kept messing with him, kept messing with him, kept messing with him. My son had the ability to knock him out because the same bully, before he was in Taekwondo, my son got into a fight with him and my son put him in a chokehold. And when he went back to, when the Taekwondo sensei I found out about, I think it was like a yellow belt at this time, it was very early in, and jumped on him about it, to learn discipline and self-restraint. And I saw the wisdom of my son at the time. I think he turned 6 or 7 when the teacher told us what happened, where there was another incident at the school with the same kid, and that he hit my son and my son just walked away. And the teacher asked him, why didn't you hit him back? He said, because I could have hurt him. And I know I could have hurt him. It was more brave for me to walk away. That took more strength. Wow. Wow, he had the power to. But it took more strength not to. He was able to handle his own emotions. See, as human beings, we are emotional creatures. We are reactionary. And the most powerful force in the universe is our emotions. Our emotions will move us in one direction or another. And the ability to override our human nature of emotions sets us apart from, it's why we're humans, basically. Why we don't just run on instinct. We have a brain and we're able to use it. So that's the first thing you want to be able to conquer and control, is your mindset. How do you view things that happen to you, especially things that are not in your control? Don't sweat the small stuff. Learn how to manage the big stuff. Now let's go ahead and get started. Well, you've been talking for 16 minutes. We haven't even gotten started yet. No, we have not gotten started because tonight our topic is how to become a pro, how to be a professional. And for those of you, wait, Brandon, you didn't answer the question. The question was, what is the secret to success? And every single one of you that typed in something was wrong. We haven't gotten there yet. But here is the topic, how to become a pro. Why should you become a pro? Why? Because if you ever want to become the top of whatever you're doing, you got to be a pro. And that's in anything in life. Whatever career you choose, you want to be a professional at it. Just like sports, you have amateurs, you have professionals. There's a difference between college basketball and college football and the NFL and the NBA. There's a difference between grad school and you have your own practice. There's a difference between being engaged and being married. Commitment on that one, right? So whatever it is that you're doing, you want to become a professional. But let's talk about the new economy on why in our industry. And this is based on Eric Worre's book, Go Pro. So this is not my information. I had somebody challenge me a couple of years back. Said, who do you think you are, Brandon? Who made you king? So this isn't my information. This is information that I've learned. And I'm only sharing it back within my own words and experience, as you all should do, because we all have different experiences. But this isn't something that I'm making up. Just so you know, credit goes to Eric Worre. So the world as you know it has changed. For the people who don't recognize that fact, it will be the worst of times. For those of you who do, it will be the best of times. Over the last 100 years, an interesting phenomenon has occurred. The rise of the corporation became the standard in society. The safe and respected place for people to exist in the workplace was as an employee. Think about that. See, all through human history, we were an agrarian society up until, 1880 or so, where people started moving out of out of the fields and going to the cities. The industrial age took place. But before that, everybody, did you know, had their own home-based business? Everybody was self-sufficient. There were no grocery stores. Everybody took care of themselves. This is a new scenario that we're living in today. Over the last 140 years is new society. So here has been the backbone of success in an American society for the past 100 years, or what they're teaching us to do. Number one, go to school to learn how to be an employee. That's obvious, right? Because when we start kindergarten, they're already indoctrinating us in a certain pattern. And when you do patterns, they become habits. And when they become habits, it becomes ingrained in you. And you do things without even realizing you're doing it. And you don't even know why you're doing it. It's just the way you've always been doing things. It's the way you've been taught. And you learn not to question it. So we go to school as kids. Early in the morning, we have lunch. We have recess. And we come home and we do homework. And we do that from kindergarten to you graduate from college. And what happens after you graduate? You get a job and the schedule remains the same. You get up early in the morning, you go to a job that you don't like, to work with people you can't stand, to eat lunch at 12 when you're hungry at 11, to ask for permission to go to the bathroom because you don't have recess anymore, to get off work at 5, go home, and you do it all over again, and you're doing this for the rest of your life. They are indoctrinating you since kindergarten to do this. You don't question it. It's just the way it is. And you wonder why you're having a hard time signing people up on a home-based business when they haven't ever been taught that that is a viable option. They're going against something that they've been trained for 30 years. So you manage your own expectation when people say no. Know why they're saying no. Step 2, find a company that will employ you. So you graduate from college, you find a good company. Step 3, work for that company for 40 years. See, back in the old days, yeah, you didn't get laid off or fired like that. You worked with the same job your entire life. I just celebrated this past Monday. My father retired 43 years at the same company. My dad has only had one job his entire life. He started off washing cars and driving corporate execs around town because of his color of his skin. He was not able to be what's called a full-time employee in the company. That's how he started off in that company and rose to become the CEO of that company. And there's thousands of employees in this company. Think about this. This is why I always have a butt heads with my own dad. Because for my dad, he lived the American dream as far as the success. Oh, he had to work his tail off for it. But he worked the same company for 43 years. He's retiring with full pension. He's going to be making more money in retirement than he was making while he was working a job. But out of thousands and thousands and thousands of people who went through the same company, how many of them became the CEO? Only one, my dad. So his situation, his scenario is not typical. Step 4, retire like my dad did. That was the American dream. That was the life of the greatest generation in American history, or they call them the World War II generation. After World War II, America emerged from World War II with the greatest economy on the planet. Infrastructure still intact. See, unlike Europe, nobody invaded America. Our homes and factories weren't bombed to the rubble. We didn't have to rebuild like Europe did in the Middle East and even in Asia and Japan. We didn't have to rebuild. We walked away from World War II as a world power, the last man standing. And that generation was able to have one person work a job. And that one job, the wife could stay at home, have 7 kids. That one income could buy a house, 2 cars, pay for all the kids to go to school, and retire comfortably. That's how it used to be back in those times. Do you think it's that way today? No. Because in recent decades, the promise of being rewarded by the company for your loyalty and hard work has been exposed as a myth. People began to realize that the loyalty they were giving to their company was not being given in return. See, people have the false sense of thinking that just because they work for a company, the company cares about you. No, the company cares about the bottom line. The company cares about how much money it can make. The company cares about satisfying the stockholders, not you. So it turned out to be step 1, go to school to learn how to be an employee. That's the same. Step 2, find a company that will employ you. That's the same. All of a sudden, things started to change. Step 3, switch companies for various political and economic reasons every 3 to 5 years over the course of your career. And then step 4, you find out that you can't retire comfortably after 40 years, so you keep working. So this is why the federal government states 97% of all Americans will retire broke, depending on family, government, and friends, by the age of 65. 97%. You know what that tells me? 97% of the people haven't realized the economy and the way things work haven't changed, and they're still acting like the slide before. They're still acting as if they're going to be able to retire after 40 years comfortably because that's what they've been taught. Only to reach 65, they can't retire, and they end up becoming a Walmart greeter. I think it's time that people start to wake up because the reality has changed, but our economic system, or education system in other words, is still teaching us the same exact thing. It hasn't changed in over 100 years, and people are still blindly following it. The best way not only to survive, but to thrive in the new economy. And when I say new economy, I mean, we're now at the turn of the century. We're 15 years into the new economy. Can you believe that? I remember Y2K like it was yesterday. 15 years into the new economy, the new century. More and more companies will choose to use network marketing because it fits the new economy. It's extremely efficient because in the new economy, word of mouth advertising continues to work better than any other form of promotion. Anybody a fan of Beyonce? I didn't say Jay-Z, I said Beyonce. Anybody a fan of Beyonce? Do you know what she did on her last album? She didn't do the traditional spend millions of dollars promoting her album. She released it on the internet. Nobody knew about it till after it was released. And still sold millions and millions and millions of copies. You want to know why? Word of mouth. She didn't have to spend one dime in advertising. But just the buzz around it alone blew her up. Now, that's what everybody is trying to do. And the way that music is being distributed. Remember the old days we used to go into the record store in your local mall and you put on your headphones to demo some of the albums? Oh, those days are gone. I haven't bought a CD in like 12 years. That's gone. It's changed. Same with the movie industry. It's all changing. We have to adapt with that. But businesses are realizing that word of mouth is much better. What that means to you is that you can receive all of the benefits of traditional business ownership without the typical risks. And there will be no cap on your income because network marketing companies want you to make as much as possible. Is that the case in a 9-to-5 job? Does a 9-to-5 job want you to make as much as possible? No, a 9-to-5 job wants you to produce as much as possible. See, they set you on a baseline salary, and they want to maximize your production for as much money as they're paying you. You have a glass ceiling. You're never going to make more money. I remember when I joined corporate America, and I was very ambitious, and I was looking at where do I want to be, in the future with this company. Have you guys ever been there before? You joined the company for your first time working, you're excited, you now have your own income coming in, you want to reach the top, you want to be like the CEO. Then I started looking up at my bosses and the lifestyle there. I saw the cars, they drove a little bit better car than everybody else. See it in the parking lot? Like, wow, I want to make money like them so I can get the type of cars they have. They all have their houses. And then you start looking closer. You think, are they happier? Nah, they were stressed out more than everybody else. I quickly found out they were in more debt than everybody else. Then I looked at this one guy who was my boss's 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 boss. And I found out that he made about $30,000 a year more than me. So I was at $32,000, he was at $60-something thousand. And I asked, how long has he been, working here? Well, he's been here 17 years. I said, so if I work here for 17 years without getting fired or laid off, and I get promoted the way this guy did, 17 years from now, I'll be making $30,000 more than I am today. So I'll jump to $60,000 a year. And he's in debt. He's worried about his mortgage. He's got kids in school. His expenses are far more than they were, at my age at 21, 22. He's in his 40s. Got a wife and a family. College tuition. So it's not like that extra $30,000 a year was really going that much further. And I scale like that's what I have to look forward to. Then I look at network marketing. And I look at the people who's at the top positions. What are their lifestyles like? Oh, what? You don't have a job? You work from home? You make more money than the people who do work a job, but you're still at home? You travel wherever you want? You wake up when you're finished sleeping? How long have you been here? 3 years? Think about that. More millionaires and billionaires have been created from network marketing than any other industry. This is the new economy. So the new economy is going to pay you for your performance, not your time. Are you ready? See, in the new economy, it is not about how much time you put in. This is very important because a lot of people think that they're active and they're producing and they're doing busy work. There's a difference between activity and performance. The new economy is all about performance. Even the 9-to-5 jobs are getting away from hiring full-time employees to hiring contractors. You're paid on performance. Not just because you showed up to work. Performance. Are you ready for this? Most people are not. I could do a whole nother training just on performance because Jim Rohn has a whole series about this. In fact, the video I was playing earlier talks about this. The philosophy of performance. Maybe I'll look that up. Normally I play focus on your goal, not the task at the end, but tonight I will play that. I'll pull up that video, the philosophy of performance. This is what I'm teaching my sons now. I have a 16-year-old, and I'm constantly talking to him about his chores and being responsible and doing things without me having to ask him to do them, because that's what people do on a job. You know, you have your boss telling you what to do. But are you able to do things when you have nobody telling you what to do? When you have nobody watching you? That's the definition and quality of a man. To be able to do things the right way, even though there are no eyes watching you. Performance is everything. It's not based on where you were born, when you were born, what color you were born, how you were born, what family you were born in. In today's society, it's going to be, can you outperform somebody else? And you have full control over your own performance. It is in your own hands. This is the best time ever to be an entrepreneur right now in the economy. So become professional. If you treat this business like a hobby, you will get paid like a hobby. You must accept a temporary loss of social esteem from ignorant people. I said that on the last training. Someone didn't understand what that meant. What that means is this. You are deciding to go on a path that nobody has done before, or most people are not doing. And by going on this path, the people that you're leaving behind are going to look at you like you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? You're out of everybody's going in this direction and you're going in that direction. What's wrong with you? You're supposed to follow the crowd. These people are ignorant. I didn't say stupid. I didn't say bad. I said just ignorant. Meaning they lack information. And they're working on the knowledge that they currently have. So you can't blame them for thinking the way they do. They haven't been fed new information yet. It's like a computer program. They're just ignorant. Are you able and ready to accept you're not going to be in the cool kids anymore? Right? You're not going to be with the cool crowd, or so they think. You're charting your own course. Are you able for that? And that's important because a lot of people are not. A lot of people keep up with the Joneses. I remember when I did have my first job and I came home one day, my uncle was at the house with my dad. And I had a bad day. And I was sharing it with them. And they laughed and they slapped me on the back, handed me a beer. And was like, welcome to the world. You know, welcome to the club. Like it was a badge of honor to have to go through all those problems on a job and then come home and complain about it. And I remember the adults always, when I was a kid, always complaining about their job. I'm like, is this what I got to look forward to? Is this my life? Work at a job that I don't like to complain about it at home? I don't think so. I had made my decision then. That's got to be a better way. Most people have either joined a network marketing company or know someone who has. They approach it as if they are playing the lottery and hoping to get lucky and sign up that one superstar that will make them rich. When it doesn't happen, they quit. They treat this like a hobby. See, here's what happens. See, when I first got started in network marketing and you ask somebody about the business, at that time, most of the people had never heard of network marketing. And the ones who did, all they thought was a pyramid scheme. Today, when you ask somebody about a home-based business or network marketing, it's not, are they interested in joining one? It's, what companies are you already with? It's a new age now. But also with that new age comes new challenges. Because there's so many choices out there. You've got the froggers, the people that hop around. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But most of these people look at our industry not as a profession, but like they're going to Vegas to play the roulette, to play blackjacks, like it's a gamble. Yeah, I'm going to pay my $500 to get started, and just because I paid my money, I'm going to be rich. This is how most people are. Not you, right? You're not most people. Not you. They treat this like a hobby. A professional learns skills necessary to become successful in any given field, and the same goes for network marketing. Once you learn skills, then there is no luck involved. Your performance will greatly improve, which will in turn greatly improve how much you make. Become a professional. Like I said earlier, no matter what field you're in, doctor, lawyer, teacher, even in the stock market, politician, everything you do, you want to become a professional at it. It should be no difference in network marketing. When I first joined my company, the first thing I did was spend 99% of my time becoming a professional, learning as much as I can about this industry, doing as much research as I possibly could on e-commerce. I looked up everything and I recorded it. I documented it. I have a PhD in e-commerce. No, there's no school that teaches it. But the amount of information that I have now, I have a PhD. Where are you at in your education of your own business? Are you a professional? So become a professional. There are 3 types of networkers: posers, amateurs, and professionals. Let's talk about the posers. Posers treat this profession as a lottery ticket. They're hoping to hit it big with as little effort as possible. We just talked about that. These are the people that probably have a lot going on in their life. They're desperate. They're looking for a way out. They're looking for that quick fix. And they know, wow, I got to make an extra $5,000. I can't get it on my job. I can't borrow the money from anywhere. I can't go back to school. It's going to take too long. I can't learn a new trade, trade or skill set. It's going to take too long. I need it now. I need it 30 days. I need it now. Yeah, I heard about people posting pictures of cars and houses, making $20,000 a month. Yeah, I guess I'll go sign up in one of those and make $20,000 next month. Really? That is, even if that's not what people will say verbally, that is exactly what they're thinking in their mind. Some posers actually do get lucky and get that big break and make quick money, but it never lasts, and they never learn skills on what to do if they lose it. I'm going to use 2 examples. Since this is an open webinar, I'm not going to call out a specific company, but I will use a company as an example. But before I use a company, I want to use life. Let's use the lottery as an example. Because lottery is getting that one lucky break. You just lucked out and got the right numbers and the right combination. Next thing you know, you went from having bill collectors calling you every single night, ducking them, hiding your car at somebody else's house so it doesn't get repossessed. Not answering your phone because you don't recognize the number on your call ID because it might be a bill collector. Oh, don't act like you guys don't do that. So all of a sudden, you have $150 million in the bank because you won the lottery. Wow, what a life changer, right? But look at that last sentence there. It never lasts. Why? Because they never learn skills on what to do if they lose it. They didn't learn the skills to make it. Did you know that 70% of all lottery winners go broke within 10 years? 70%. And when you talk to them, they'll say, I wish I never won the lottery. You're like, what? How in the world can you say you went from hoopty and broke, hanging on the corner, to 150 million in the account and in the bank account, and you wish you never won the lotto? This all goes back to mindset, and I'm going to share just a little bit on this. I'll teach more on this part 2 for next Saturday. But here's what happens. Remember what I said? Money is not the goal. It is just a resource. Now that they have unlimited money, all that money did was eliminated all the major distractions in their life, like having a 9-to-5 job that took up 40% of their time, or 40 hours a week. Now that you eliminate all those distractions, you're left with who you are as a person, all of your flaws and all your good qualities about you. But the flaws are going to be exploited with unlimited resources. Think about this. Let's say if you had a drinking problem. If you had a drinking problem and you work a 9-to-5 job, chances are you're not drinking while you're at work for 40 hours a week. But you have $150 million in the bank account and you have a drinking problem. Now you can drink whenever you want, and you do so often. You have a gambling problem, but you work a 9-to-5 job, therefore you're limited to how much money you can gamble. But now you have $150 million in the bank and you have a gambling problem. What happens? All having more money, in other words, more resources, will do is magnify who you are and what your character is. And that's why your focus is not on more money, but on quality of life. That's why personal development is everything. That's why rich people aren't always happy. Money does not make that happen. It's who you are as an individual, as a person. So these broke people that became multimillionaires didn't learn the skill set how to make that money and be responsible to make it. Now that they have it, definitely don't have the skill set on how to keep it, even when they get lucky. I'll use what should I call this fictional company? I'll just call it Company A. Company A comes along with the scheme and a gimmick. And a lot of networkers who never made any money before join on this scheme and gimmick company. And because it's set up as a scheme or a gimmick, they make a whole lot of money up front fast. They've never made that money before, ever. But it's not built to last. The company goes out of business. These people lose all that money. The money that they made, they didn't save up because they weren't responsible with it. They thought it was going to continue to go on forever. See, luck happens every now and then. But luck doesn't last. Now, people say there's no such thing as luck. Luck is when preparation meets work. So let's say two people get lucky, so to speak, lucky. And one person, goes broke, and another person goes on to make even more money. Was it luck? No. The other person was just prepared to handle an event that took place. Are you prepared? See, posers last 30 to 60 days at most network marketing companies before they quit, and when they quit, they blame either the company, compensation plan, upline, or downline for their failure. How many of us know people like that? We blame everybody else for things that happen. I have this happen to me all the time. When people, after 60 days and they didn't make $10,000, it's the company's fault. It's my upline didn't help me. My downline didn't do anything. The compensation plan I thought was one way and it's not. It's always somebody else's fault. They never point the finger at themselves. If you're still with me, type I, because I'm doing a lot of talking. I see a lot of people here. I want to make sure you can hear me. Posers also would rather join another company that is promising an easier or faster way to riches. So instead of working harder and learning skills, they jump ship. Oh, these are the froggers. These are the frog. They join a company because they like the hype of it. It's exciting. It's brand new. But then they realize, oh man, I got to work. I have to work at this. Wow, I got to learn more skills. Then they log into Facebook and see another friend of them promoting something else that's exciting. It looks sexy to them. And they say, wow, it's too hard for me over here. I'm going to go join them over there. They seem to be having more fun. I'll give you an example of a poser that I had on my team. And this was a poser who had hit the top position of the company. Yes, he was still a poser. And when we merged into Shopping Sherlock, our current company, and we realized things aren't going to be the way they used to be. It's a new experience. Things are going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to have to learn a new skill set because it's a different animal. It's a different beast. It's in a different industry. See, what I did was said I need to become a professional at this thing and learn new skills. What this other person did was, oh, this is too hard. And then company, what I say it was company A or Y or whatever, company A comes along. It looks sexy. It looks cool. It looks like people are having fun. And that person jumps ship and says, they say the grass is greener over there. Hey, well, the grass is greener on this side of the fence and it has a lake. And you know what happened? That company went out of business less than a year later. It's not about where you go, it's about what you do. Once you learn skills, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you will always have success. That's something that a professional learns. Doesn't matter. Do you think Michael Jordan, for example, do you think he would have been Michael Jordan on a different team if he wasn't with the Chicago Bulls? Yes. Would he have been the greatest basketball player ever on a different team? Yes. It's like Peyton Manning. When Peyton Manning changed teams, he had the greatest season of his entire career after he left his last team. When you've got the skills, you are a professional. It doesn't matter where you go. This is one thing posers don't understand. They think it has to do with the company. It doesn't, or the comp plan. Let's move on to amateurs. This is one step up. Amateurs focus on getting lucky. They hear of stories of people who had their entire lives changed with that one sign up. They spend all their time focusing on that one big hit. We have all been guilty of this at one point or another. I have. The second thing amateurs focus on is timing. Did I get in early enough? How many other leaders are in my market? Did I miss the growth curve? Is the market saturated? Amateurs focus on that. Now, professionals will ask these questions, but for a professional, it still doesn't matter. For an amateur, it's what they focus on, and they'll choose a company based on this information. And I'm going to tell you right now, your success has nothing to do with that information. The #1 money earner ever has made over $250 million in network marketing as a field rep. And he joined his company 5 years after the company got started. 5 years. There's a woman I just read about in Mexico who joined Amway 3 years ago. She's a multi-millionaire today in a company that's been around for 60 years. The market will never be saturated. You will never miss the ultimate growth curve. Now, every company does have what's called massive growth. That does take place. But it's not going to be your determining factor on your ultimate success. It doesn't matter how many other leaders are in the market. Doesn't matter. Did I get in early enough? Sometimes that can be a curse for most people. The hardest part of the business is when you're one of the first to join. Because now you're blazing the trail, so you have to have that mental toughness to be able to lead the pack. Most people like to join something after somebody else has already done it and paved the trail. I remember in ACN 1993, there was a gentleman named Robert Hollis, and Robert Hollis used to be the upline of two of the co-founders of ACN, Mike and Tony Kupas, back in the late 80s. And when they created ACN, they invited Robert to be a co-owner of ACN. And Robert said, "You must have lost your mind. There has never been a network marketing company that's going to be promoting long distance. I don't think it's going to work. Prove it to me first." And he waited like 3 years before he decided to join ACN. And when he joined ACN, he still made millions. For him, he knew he had the skill set. And he wasn't willing at the time to go through leading the pack at that time, charting something brand new. He could have done it, he just wasn't willing to go through it. So being early doesn't necessarily mean, it's going to happen for you. It's what you do with it if you are one of the first involved. The third thing amateurs focus on is positioning. Am I in the right organization? Are others better positioned than me? Do I have a good upline? Will I do better in another team? That's a lot of posers focus on that too. Here's one thing I learned based on my experience. It doesn't matter where you're positioned because you are the CEO of your organization from you down. It doesn't matter what your upline does. Your upline's goal and job, or better yet, the best thing they could have done for you is share the business with you. Thank you. Thank them for that. Anything they do after that is a bonus. Understand this. If you are dependent on your upline, you might as well go back to a job where you're dependent on your boss. This is a home-based business. You are the CEO. You answer to nobody. It's your company from you down. Am I on a better team or am I on the right team? Create the right team. See, here's what I do. I say, what type of team would I want to be on? And then that's what I'm going to create for my organization. I have a leadership group that we meet every Wednesday. And one thing that I told them on the first week is, yes, we're all part of Power Team Marketing, but start thinking right now of your own team name. What is your brand? What is your team? You're the CEO of your team because you're going to create your own team. So it's not always about, am I on the right team? Should I switch teams? Are others better positioned than me? Don't worry about what others are doing. Worry about what you're doing. The fourth thing amateurs focus on is shortcuts. And this is so much prevalent in the age of the internet. The internet tools can do all the work for me. Every time a new shiny approach to business is advertised, amateurs are all over it and easily distracted. How many times have you heard, this program's going to generate you the best leads? Get with this program to learn how to have people call you, blah, 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 blah. And every 6 months, there's always a new one that's promising to do what the last one promised to do. And people couldn't work the old one, so then they get excited about the new one, and it's just a distraction. The worst part is the ones that are affiliate programs as well, which means if you invite others, then you're going to get paid as well. That's a trap. It's a trap. I'll call one company out, not in a negative way, but just highlighting the success that this company had. The company's called Empower Network, also My Lead System Pro. But when Empower Network first got started, I was there when it launched. I had an Empower Network account. And I remember Dave Wood and all the top leaders at the time, what they shared. And here was the message. We are going to launch a tool, a blogging tool, that's going to help you to build whatever business you are currently building, and you're going to piggyback on the SEO, the backlink, the tracking that our name of our blog has, so that you will be ranked higher on Google and all the major search engines. So if you are typing and blogging about your business, more people are going to be able to spot your business because you're using our tool than if you were not using our tool. That was the entire benefit and point of the company. So people in mass droves signed up to use the Empower blog, and it works. It is excellent. It is a great tool to use if you want to build your business. But here came the trap. The trap was, if you invite others on your team so that they can build their downline, you're going to get paid to do so. So what quickly ended up happening is more people were focused on signing up their entire downline into Empower Network with the goal of, we're going to help build our primary company. But you're not supposed to mention your primary company. And then people started making more money by inviting people in their downline to join Empower Network than they were on their primary company, their main company that they were actually blogging about. So they turned around and left or stopped promoting their main company at all, and all they talked about was Empower Network. You just defeated the goal. The goal was to help build your primary, and then Empower Network ended up becoming their primary. And other programs saw that success because My Lead System Pro did the same thing, Magnetic Sponsoring with Mike Dillard. On all these programs popped out of the woodworks with affiliates and upselling, and it's a trap. That doesn't mean that the products don't work or the service they're offering doesn't work. They do work. I learned online marketing from joining My Lead System Pro and going through the Magnetic Sponsoring courses. That's how I learned this stuff. But I did so to learn, not to build those companies. That's a trap that amateurs fall into. And there's always a new one every 6 months, always started by the same people who started the old ones. Most people just don't figure that out yet. You guys you're not going to fall on that track. Let's talk about professionals. A professional is a person who is an expert at the skills required to build a large and successful network marketing organization. A professional starts focusing on the skills and made a commitment to practice, practice, practice until the skill is mastered. A professional does not focus on luck, timing, positioning, and shortcuts. Professional athletes will devote endless hours to preparing for competition, but when they join network marketing, they won't give 1 day's worth of effort to learning our skills. Doctors will devote a decade of their lives at huge financial expense to become physicians, but when they join network marketing, they won't give a month's study and practice to become a network marketing pro. It amazes me that somebody will spend 30 years of their lives making decisions that got them to where they are. Then they join network marketing, and if they don't make 10,000 in 30 days, they say it's a scam, they want to quit, and they want to get their money back. That doesn't even make sense. That's how you can tell real quick if this person's a professional or an amateur. But here's also a statistic that you want to know, because it's all just a numbers game. It doesn't matter what company you're in or what industry in network marketing. 70% of the people that join will do absolutely nothing. 70%. Does that mean the industry doesn't work? Absolutely not. It means 70% won't do anything. People mistake that it's a failure of the industry. Oh no, the industry gives you the opportunity that if you want to work for it, you shall have it. Most people are not willing to become professionals. They still have a 9-to-5 job mentality. What you want to do is look for and focus on those who want to be professionals and everything that comes with being a professional. The last couple of weeks I've been doing training series focusing on the how. Even though, I hear it say, don't focus on the how, focus on the goal. Focus on the goal, not the how. But I needed to teach you guys the how so you know what to do. Become a professional at that. Knowing what to do, the 3-way calls, presentations, sharing the business, getting customers, marketing your business. You want to become a professional at that. That's going to set you apart from 70% of the people, so you're already ahead of the game. Then you want to rise to that 10% and that 3% and that 1%. And this is the last slide of the night, and this is the slide we end tonight, but it's also going to be the same slide that we begin with next week. Know your why. Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is motivating you? And the typical industry, training on this is, well, you may want to spend more time with your family. Well, you want to get college education for your children. You want to buy a new home. You want to be debt-free. You want to have family vacation. You want to give more to your church. You want to be able to retire comfortably. You want to buy toys like boats, cars, RVs, and etc., planes. That's what you'll traditionally hear. For me, it's a bunch of BS. Here's why I say that. Because everybody wants and desires that. And just wanting and desire it does not move you to action. It's just like some people will say, your why is something that will make you cry. No, that is not your why. Crying is an emotional release or reaction to something. Crying does not motivate you to take action because everybody cries about something. Crying is just an emotional release. If that was the motivator, everybody would be rich. Everybody will be out of their situation. Let me tell you how to do this. And this is your assignment for tonight. Those of you on the East Coast, it's 11 p.m., so you'll be going to sleep soon. So here is your assignment tonight. Before you go to sleep, I want you to think about and answer this question for you. What would you do with your life if money was no longer an issue at all? What do I mean by that? Let's say you have all the money in the world and you have taken all the vacations you wanted. You have bought all the homes you wanted. You've got your vacation home. You've got your summer home, winter home. You bought grandma a home. You've got all the cars you want. You've taken your shopping spree in New York, Paris, Beverly Hills. You've traveled the world, seen everything you wanted. You bought all the cars. And you went on a spending spree for a year. You've tithed everything you can to the church. And at the end of the year, you wake up on a Monday morning realizing that you don't have to go to work. You bought everything that you wanted, and you have more money in the bank now than you did when you went on your shopping spree. And you realize, wow, I'm still here. because most people think that the game is over once they become rich or once they have money, and not understanding that that is when the game begins. That is when your life begins. Why? Because you have eliminated your chains. You have bought your own freedom. Your time is your own. When I was working a 9-to-5 job, the one thing that I wanted more than anything else was freedom. Freedom. Freedom to come, go, and do as I please without worrying about will I be able to pay my bills if I do so. Freedom and success doesn't mean you have to have millions in the bank. As long as you're able to achieve the type of quality of life you want to have. And each person's quality of life is different. So that's why I can't do this exercise for you. You have. So here's the question you ask yourself on that Monday morning. What do you want to do in life? What are the things you always wanted to accomplish that you never had the time to do? What are the God-given talents that God has blessed you with that you've never been able to explore? You have all the resources in the world to make it happen. What would you do if you didn't have to have a 9-to-5 job, but you've done all these other things already? Because the average person can never think past this stuff. Remember what I said? Wealthy people, a lot of them aren't happy. They've already bought everything they want out of life, and they still got to live their life. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? Have you ever thought about that? You probably have not. And that's okay. You want to be a kid again. Kids dream all the time. It's not until we become adults and you look at, oh, reality is here now. I stopped dreaming. No, dream again. Once you figure out what it is that you want out of your life, I want you to imagine that you've already accomplished it. Now, this is from the movie The Secret and Beyond, Law of Attraction. And I don't want you to fake it till you make it. I want you to act as if. Act as if. When you look at yourself in the mirror, tell yourself, I'm a millionaire. Act like it. Walk like it. Talk like it. Dress like it. Drive your car like it. You can be in a hoopty. But if you're sitting there acting like, I'm in a Rolls Royce, you have that swag. You have that flavor to you. People pick up on that vibe and treat you differently. They'll treat you as so. Do you realize that the world will interact with you based on whatever vibration you're giving off? So what vibe are you giving off about you? Defeated? Neglected, hopeless, broke, because that's what you're going to keep attracting to yourself over and over and over again. Change that. Change your physiology. Act as if. Why is that important? Because your brain does not know what is reality. Your brain only knows what you tell it to know. It doesn't have eyeballs to see your real situation. So you have the ability to trick your brain. You have the ability to reprogram your brain. And by doing this right before you go to sleep, when you go to sleep, you're asleep, but your brain doesn't sleep. Your subconscious is still active. And it is running around working out things that you've been thinking about and worrying about all day long. So if right before you go to sleep, you told your brain that you're Bill Gates, that's all your brain's going to be vibrating on for 8 hours while you sleep, if you sleep 8 hours. You wake up in the morning, you will feel much better. And then you do it again when you first wake up in the morning. Now, like muscles, this isn't something that you do just one time and think that everything's going to be better. This is something that you have to do repeatedly, which leads me to actually answering the question I asked you at the very beginning. What is the key to success? What is the secret? And you got it wrong. Here is the secret. Consistency. What? Can it be as simple as that? Consistency. The ability to do something over and over and over and repeatedly and repetitively when you are bored, when the feeling has left you, when there's so many other things you could do that may be fun, when people are looking down on you, when you're not seeing the results, and you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. That is why people have success. That is the secret. Mindset helps you to maintain it, but the activity of being consistent for a long enough period of time to see the results. See, people ask me, Brandon, how many hours should I put in a week? Like, how many hours do you put in a week? It's a trick question for me. It's when the job gets done. That's how I see it. You know, I was watching an old segment on Muhammad Ali and his training rituals, and they were asking him, you know, like, how many reps would you do? How many push-ups a day would you do? I don't count my push-ups. I don't count them. I just keep doing them until they hurt. You don't count the cost. By counting the cost, you're putting a limitation on how far you are willing to go. I don't count the cost. It's when the job gets done. That's when I stop. I don't care how many people quit, leave, or say anything. I'm going to continue to do it. I love what Tyler Perry's message. He went 8 years putting up his own money, having no success. He didn't quit. He didn't give up. He remained consistent. He kept doing it over and over again. Now he's worth like $400 million. You look at any successful person, you will see consistency over and over again. People say, Brandon, I want to make the type of money you make. I say, are you willing to do the things I'm willing to do? And here's the easiest. Are you willing to show up as much as I show up? If you can't show up to presentations, if you can't show up to trainings, that's only 20 minutes twice a week. You will not have success. I don't care how talented you are. If you're not willing to commit to the little things and do the little things on a consistent basis, you're not a professional and you will not have success. This is a fact. It's about being consistent. That is the key to success in anything that you do. Consistently working at the problem, consistently working to find a solution. The same thing with relationships. Most people approach their business like they're dating their business. And you know what that means. You meet a girl for the first time. She smells good. She looks good. You like the way she dresses. It's exciting. It's something new. You got that fire. This is the one. I'm going to marry her. Maybe. Till you see the next skirt come walking down the street, because now you've been dating her for a couple of months. She doesn't, you know, you're used to the way she looks. It's not as exciting anymore. You don't feel that magic there, that spark. You're starting to argue a little bit now as you get to know each other more. You're more comfortable with each other. Fall into a routine. And then all of a sudden a new skirt comes walking down the street. She's new. Exciting. And you leave the old one to go for the new one. That's what people do in their business. They date their business, and then when their company, you know, wears out on them, they realize they have to work at it. They jump ship to the newest skirt that's coming down the street. Talking about, we're going to disrupt the industry. You're just a new skirt. That's all. You must marry your business, because when you marry, you're making a commitment. The ability to work through the good and the bad. Are you married to your business? Or are you just dating your business? Do you know your why? Are you acting as if? The reason why this lesson or this activity is so important, because you are reprogramming your brain. And you have to. Your brain's been programmed to do something, think a certain way for all your life. I'll give you a good example on this. Your brain doesn't understand reality. It only understands how you feel. And when I say it, act as if you already have all this stuff, it's not what you have, it's the way you feel that your brain is responding to. And your brain wants you to continue feeling the way you feel. That's its job. It's a computer. You're telling the computer what to do. You want more of this feeling. So if you're always feeling bad, your brain is going to continue to do things to make you feel this way. You guys understand that? Have you ever met a woman who's always been in a bad relationship with a guy? It's like every man she dates is the same guy with a different name. And her friends say, you know what? You may be the issue. Let's get you checked out. Let's take you to a psychologist, a therapist. So she goes to see the therapist and says, I'm always having men problems, and I want to change this. So the therapist asks, let me ask you a question. What do you want in a man? Here's her response. Well, I want a man who doesn't go out late at night. I want a man who doesn't drink with his buddies all day long. I want a man who doesn't do drugs. I want a man who doesn't hit me, who doesn't abuse me, who doesn't talk bad to me in front of my kids, who doesn't respect me. Or you can say, I don't want a man who does these things. And the therapist says, wow, that sounds good, right? Who wants a man like that? He says, but you didn't answer my question. My question is, what do you want in a man, not what you don't want in a man. So everything that you told me, how does that make you feel? She said, bad. And you feel bad because all you're thinking about is a man that hits you, abuses you, treats you bad, disrespects you. And that's what you're going to always attract to you because that's all you're thinking about. Instead, switch it up. Say, I want a man who loves me. I want a man who respects me. I want a man who makes me his world. I want a man who loves my children like they're his own. I want a man who loves coming home to me after work, who loves to spend time with me, who loves to make me smile. Now, what type of man do you think she's going to attract? Because her old way of thinking, even if that man came to her, she would push him away with her own vibes. Change your thinking and change your life. Do this skill or this assignment every night before you go to sleep and when you wake up. And if you keep doing it for maybe 3 weeks, you're going to start to realize you do it during the day. And you just have that belief that it's going to happen. That's what I did. When I was working a job and I would go to lunch and I would have my headphones on and I would walk down to that park, and for 30 minutes, I would just imagine, I'm here because I want to be here, not because I have to be. I come to this park because I feel like it. And then when I walked off my job, I still go back to that park. Every year, I'm going to do it this year because I walked off my job on my birthday. That was the best present I ever gave myself, was my freedom. And every year I go back to that park and I shoot a video. And I'll be doing it this year, July 13th. Know your why. Now, next week, we're going to be doing part 2 of this, which is really getting into the mindset training. But as I said earlier, I was going to pull up the video on, it was how to be, well, what was the name of that again? The philosophy of performance. So let me pull that video up. I love doing this training tonight. This always gets me fired up, even though I'm the one who was doing the talking. This was recorded, so we will get the recording out. So the philosophy of performance. And I got this information from Jim Rohn. Oh, yeah, this is the Brandon Ivey Show, tip number 37, the philosophy of performance. Let me pull it up for you. So with that, thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's been 3 months since I've done this training, so thank you for taking time out of your schedule to hearing it. I hope you gained at least something from it. At least something. If I only reached out to 1 or 2 of you, fantastic. Next Saturday will be part 2 of this training. So we'll see you again next Saturday night. So here is this video, the philosophy of performance. Tomorrow night we have our team call at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by live presentation with Diamond Chuck Williams at 9 p.m. And then we begin another week to end the second half of May, going into June, which puts us halfway through this year. What are you going to do this week to excel and move beyond where you were last? What are you going to do different? If you didn't have any guests on any presentations last week, will you have any guests on it this week? Remember, you can't get more if you don't do anything more. We always have to keep working, keep moving forward. God bless. Good night. Bye-bye.